Ladies and gentlemen, I have a remarkable guest, Ali Noorani, President and CEO of National Immigration Forum and host of the podcast Only in America. Ali, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Richey.
Let's talk about immigration policy. Let's get right into it. America seems to have a schizophrenic relationship with the truth as it relates to immigration policy. Give us your background, your perspective as it relates to American immigration policy.
Well, so much of the immigration debate is what we believe is going to be based on policy, right? We kind of talk about numbers of voters, we talk about, what's the policy idea in Congress. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this comes down to the immigration debate comes down to culture and values, who we are as a country, who we used to be, and also who we're going to be. And how do we knit together the range of cultures that make our nation special, and use and create a story that people can relate to, they feel themselves in, that ultimately results in a much more constructive, sane, humane, compassionate approach to immigration policy.
What do you think the American sentiment, I can't say American government, but the American sentiment started to lose its way as it relates to a compassionate connection to immigration policy?
So I've been thinking a lot about actually the last 10 years, and I would actually go back to the beginning of the Syrian refugee crisis, when we started to see millions of Syrian refugees seeking protection from a terrible war in Syria, and they were coming to Europe. That is when we saw really the weaponization of the global migration narrative, both in Europe and then in 2015 here with Donald Trump. As a candidate, he weaponized that narrative to force, if you will, urge 24 plus Republican governors to say they did not want Syrian refugees in their state. And then he was, quite frankly, elected based on an anti-immigrant, anti-refugee message. And that led to over 1,000 changes to immigration policy under the course of the Trump administration, which now the Biden administration is working to reverse, but they need to reverse those changes and tell a different story to the American public.
Why is it so dangerous for immigration policy like Trump's to continue to permeate in the culture as we know it? What's the real impact?
Well, the real impact is, quite frankly, that we will shrink as a country, we'll become less competitive. Families from big cities to small towns, they will struggle. The tax base will erode. And again, this is not about just those big cities. It is about the small towns and communities across the country who increasingly are relying on immigrants and immigration to revitalize their economy, grow their schools, create new jobs. This is the future of our country, and it's based on our ability to recruit global talent, from the skilled engineer to the skilled farm worker. And we have got a lot of work to do to reverse what President Trump put into place so that all Americans see the value of immigrants and immigration to them and their families.
Give me your perspective on this, because I've often wondered, when I see 600 factory workers being arrested, right? And a news crew being present because the government tipped them off that they were going to do this massive arrest of undocumented workers. The same federal law that says it is illegal to hire an undocumented worker, the subsection of that federal law also says it's illegal for the worker to be there. So both are against the law. Why do we not see the owners of the companies, the CEO, the COO, the hiring manager, the human resources director, the job recruiter, why do we not see them being arrested as well?
Well, because right now with our broken immigration system, they are the only ones who are benefiting. Because of a broken immigration system, the undocumented immigrant worker is being exploited. The legal immigrant is being exploited. The US citizen worker is being exploited because that unscrupulous employer can push down the wages and the protections for all workers, and it's a rush to the bottom. Through a functioning immigration system, all workers will be able to compete for the same job at the same wage, and unscrupulous employers will not have this leverage over the working American.
What's the solution?
The solution is really three-pronged. One, the first part of this is for the undocumented immigrant community, approximately 10, 11 million people, get them on a path to citizenship. Ensure that they and their families can own the American dream. Second, create a functioning legal immigration system that creates a process through which immigrants can go through instead of quite frankly, turning their lives over to smugglers and human cartels and hoping they can present to ask for protection. And number three, and this is the hard part, but it's very important, is to have a security system, an immigration security system, an immigration enforcement system that is humane, compassionate, but also effective. I think the Biden administration needs to really make the case that they have a new approach to border security and interior enforcement, one that treats immigrants humanely, but also keeps our nation safe.
Biden is moving too damn slow for me. Do you agree with that sentiment, or you're of the mindset he needs more time?
Well, I think he's doing some great things, and there's some other things that I think he's kind of moving far too slowly on. I mean, they are checking the boxes and really working through that list of 1,000 plus changes that Trump made and reversing them. Some amazing things are happening that I think are incredibly important to the health of the country, the health of the immigrant, and to health of all citizens. But the things that they're kind of moving slowly on are, for example, the refugee resettlement program. In Afghanistan, there are tens of thousands of Afghan nationals who helped our military during that war. We should be moving quickly, like yesterday, to evacuate them from the country, get them to a place like Guam, so their applications for special immigrant visas can be processed and they can get to the US for protection. Because they helped us, we should be able to help them. I mean, that's one issue that, quite frankly, is kind of under my skin in terms of the Biden administration moving far too slowly to protect these people who helped us.
Yeah, that situation is so sad, but it shows you the dysfunction of American imperialism and colonization. And this is why people tend to say, no, I know things are messed up, but we don't want your help, America, because of situations like this. Tell people how they can follow you on social media.
Sure. So our website is immigrationforum.org. My Twitter handle is ANOORANI, and my Instagram handle is Ali Noorani, NOORANI.
Ali, keep doing the work, brother. We appreciate you being on Indisputable.
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.